Coming up on Newsroom WolvHaven, we'll go through the major changes planned as part of Vision 2023, as the first of the changes are set to take place imminently. And the last hurrah is being planned for train driving, as the profession will soon be phased out. I'm Matthew Tofu in One North, and Newsroom WolvHaven starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. And we start our special Vision 2023 coverage. WolvHaven is set to undergo major changes in the coming 2 years. Moving away from its traditional roots as a survival multiplayer Minecraft server with added creative elements, the server will be shifting to a creative focus. In a program dubbed Vision 2023, President Silverwolf announced a slate of changes that would help accompany the server's shift in focus. Here's your need to know on what will be changing in the year and a half to come. The server's survival aspect will be fully separated from the creative one when Fifth Haven replaces Fourth Haven in 2023, with players being in creative mode in the new city world. The survival aspect of the server will also be renewed with the new survival world dubbed Avalon to soon be launched. The sandbox world will also be closed with a new free build creative world proposed to take its place, more on that later. The builder rank will be formalized and will constitute a stepping stone for those wishing to apply for both the architect and engineer ranks. Players will be able to become builders if they wish to contribute to Fifth Haven and after having received World Edit qualifications. Builders wishing to apply for the architect and engineer ranks will only be able to submit contributions or builds within the WolvHaven server as items that will be assessed for possible promotion. Applications with contributions to official public infrastructure, for instance to Fifth Haven or Gardelia or Calidia public infrastructure, will be favored more. A one-time audit will be done of existing architects and engineers, and non-contributors will have their ranks revoked. The engineer rank will be redefined as a rank given to players who specialize in construction of infrastructure such as bridges, tunnels, roads, or railways that are sufficiently detailed and are of quality or have exceptional redstone skills or capabilities. The architect and engineer committees will be merged, their list of members made public, and all deliberations with regards to applicants will also be made public in a bid to address the two committees' current lack of transparency. Continuing on with Vision 2023 related news. As part of WolvHaven's shift to creative-focused gameplay, President Silverwolf announced that train driving would not be carried over to the upcoming Fifth Haven metro system, meaning that the profession would be phased out along with the current WolvHaven City World and metro network. According to a roadmap presented as part of the Vision 2023 program, train driving would be phased out sometime in 2023. President Silverwolf outlined several reasons for his decision, stating notably that it was increasingly difficult to support the role as train examiners were increasingly unavailable, that the administrative burden linked to train driving, such as the upkeep of driver records and necessary custom plugins to tackle cheating in the system, were becoming a heavy burden on staff. He also followed up by stating that a disproportionate amount of effort was being made to cater to a section of the community that mainly came onto the server solely to drive trains, and who rarely interacted with other aspects of the server or the wider community. In addition, the president stated that players who only came on for driving would easily get bored or tired and leave, as they could only be enticed to stay by expanding the metro system, which would be unsustainable. However, the president also announced some good news for WolvHaveners with a relaxation of train driving rules in September or October, including the removal of all driver blacklists when announced, and other changes as a, quote, last hurrah before the rule is retired. WolvHaveners will soon have to start from scratch. After numerous months of discussions and debate as far back as August 2020, a decision has been taken as part of the Vision 2023 plan to phase out Pangea in favor of a new survival world. The new world, dubbed Avalon, will be launching imminently and will also be accompanied by a reset of both the Nether and the End. In addition, WolvHaveners will soon have to start from scratch as they will be unable to transfer items over from Fourth Haven and Pangea to the new world. In addition, the economy will be rebalanced to address the server's long-time financial imbalance. And continuing on with the slate of new worlds, Sandbox is set to be replaced by a new creative free-built world. Set to be less restrictive than its city-built counterparts Gardelia and Calidia, the new world is for players who, quote, just want to build small random things without the frills of building an entire claim. That's how President Silverwolf described the concept. Unlike the old super-flat iteration of Sandbox, the new world has been generated off a seed, like Calidia or Gardelia. The seed was left for players to decide, but due to lack of agreement, a random seed was chosen for the world's generation. As of now, the world is 5 by 5 kilometers large, which could be expanded in the future if needed. Still ahead on Newsroom WolvHaven, WolvHaveners are once again asked to answer the yearly census, 2 long-time staff members demoted due to inactivity, and Building Blast scrapped as server leadership to no longer host official events. Stay with us here on Newsroom WolvHaven. Welcome back. The yearly WolvHaven census conducted by admin Quoxalon was launched in June of this year. WolvHaveners are being asked to answer routine census questions such as when they joined WolvHaven, their age, their activity, their in-game claims and businesses, but also whether they were satisfied with the level of staff enforcement and the staff team's wider performance, while new questions covering Vision 2023 were also added. WolvHaveners have until September to answer the census. There were changes to the staff team in early April, with President Silverwolf announcing on the 8th of April that he had demoted 2 helpers from their roles due to inactivity and their inability to contact them. In a statement posted in #announcements, the president thanked Agaho and Mopsy Studios for their, quote, invaluable service to this server and its community, adding that the server would have, quote, never been able to function, especially when things were more complicated back in 2019-2020, without them being around and actively assisting the server. Agaho had served in his position as helper for almost 2 years, while Mopsy Studio joined the staff team in 2018 and had previously served as a moderator, senior moderator, and admin. In addition, Silverwolf stated that there were no longer any quotas for the maximum number of members of staff for each position. He explicitly clarified to WolvHaveners that this meant that there would not necessarily be any new staff members appointed to the team soon, despite the recent demotions. He also added that this signified that, for instance, there may be a possibility that all helpers become moderators, as staff positions would be tagged to member skills and their ability to handle situations to benefit the community. WolvHaveners who have been advocating for more homes have finally gotten their wishes granted. On the 19th of July, owner Silverwolf announced that all users will have their base home limits increased from 5 to 30. Architects and engineers will also have their home limits increased from 20 up to 50. Furthermore, the announcement also mentioned that fees for TPAs and TPA hearers had been waived, but that the details were still subject to change with discussions still ongoing. In DevCom news, the server updated to Minecraft version 1.18.2 in late April. This followed a short testing period on the test server conducted earlier in the month. The 1.18.2 update did not come without issues, however, with players notably unable to place splatter maps on the server, and instead had to place each individual segment of a larger map in order to use the 2map plugin. And finally, in light of the recent shift in culture and activity on the server, President Silverwolf announced on the 7th of June that staff would, quote, no longer be organizing any more official server events in response to consistent low attendance or event no-shows. He added that even if official events were being cancelled, WolvHaveners were still free to organize their own events and staff support could be provided if necessary. The president stated that the reasoning behind the sudden stop to all events was that he, as well as other members of staff, felt tired for, quote, blocking out time and putting in effort into organizing events that, quote, aren't as appreciated by everyone anymore. This followed the cancellation of Building Blasts, which were launched in late March, but cancelled quickly after only 3 editions due to a lack of participation. He further stated that as long as there were players who considered the server to be their second home, that it would remain in operation for players to chill and build together. And that's it for this edition of Newsroom WolvHaven. We'll see you next time.